all the time with agents that say, tell me the real deal about inspections and tell me how this thing is really designed to work and what is it that we most need to know. And I think that's the part that you really want to understand is what is it that you most need to understand about these inspection processes. In the big picture, what happens here is we really want to focus on what is the condition of that property. Condition's not right or wrong, it just is. So let's act like an umpire and let's call the condition of this property right straight down the middle. We're not trying to side one side or the other. We're not in there to tear that place up. We're not in there to do anything more than to understand the condition of that property and communicate it to you in a manner that you understand. Nine sections of areas that we will report from, and that is site and grounds. In other words, how's the site of this property, is the drainage adequate, these sorts of things. Then we would look at the exterior and roof sort of thing, heating and air, electrical, plumbing. On the inside we would look at interior surfaces, the bathroom areas, kitchen and structure areas. And so there's a whole section of 9 focus areas that this all gets drawn into, and that is per standards of practice. So if we are doing our job correctly, then we have adequately addressed each of those areas, and then look at this thing and say, what is it about the condition of this property that we need to know? Things like attic accesses, if they are sealed up tight, we need for those to be open, because as an inspector, we cannot move people's stuff. If we have a sealed access of some sort, crawl space locked down or an attic sealed up tight, we cannot open those. We don't have permission because it's not our home. So if we're going to do an adequate job of doing this sort of thing, those sorts of things need to be allowed to be available to us. Service panels, electrical service panels, things like that, always need to be able to have the ability to reach this sort of stuff. So, out of that code world, great. But at that point, we are not code inspectors and we do not understand or cite code. We understand code, and code moves over time, but we don't chase code.
Because you're not a licensed electrician, you're not a licensed plumber, you're not a licensed
we are not a trained code person.
Right,
exactly.
So that's all.
What about when the exhaust is running to the attic and they say that's not to code? I mean,
it's not to the code in today's house, but what would you say? It would make a lot more sense if somebody says, what do you say we update this thing to bring it up by a roof vent someplace because it was never put in that way? So at that point in time, we're not talking code, we're talking about the fact it'd be a nice thing to do to update this, so we are now routing that moisture that can come out of that bathroom up by a place where it can exit the home. So I call that an update.
So he shouldn't say it's a...
So it's kind of like grandfathered in, basically,
Well,
because it's already built that way.
If you want to chase down the road of code, which is not the right thing to do, you would say this was not code at the time that this house was built, but in today's world, if you were to build this house, that would be on there. So if you wanted to update this house to today's world, yeah, you put one in.